Hi, my fellow Game of Thrones friends. It's Ashley at The Iron Underneath. I wanted to bring you a review today on the Book of the Stranger, Episode 4 of Season 6 of Game of Thrones. The Book of the Stranger is such an interesting title, and it plagued me for a week, and I found out why. It I This episode is so high in my opinion of this season, even though every episode has been really amazing and extremely well done and well thought out and beautifully layered. This episode was the perfect midpoint episode of a season. It was a time of respite. It was a time of healing and coming back together, and I mean, most of all, coming back together of Jon and Sansa and the beginnings of the Starks taking back the North, and Jon being empowered by Sansa, and I'll get into it later, but so many brothers being empowered by their sisters. And the other thing I recognized about this episode is that I kept hearing, I've always been a huge Deadhead, and if you don't know what that is, it's somebody who follows and loves the Grateful Dead. And I've seen over 60 shows, and I know that George R. R. Martin is a huge Grateful Dead fan. And I know he even went to the Chicago shows that I didn't get to go to the summer before last. And but without Jerry Garcia, of course. So anyway, there's a song that is called "The Stranger" that the Grateful Dead sings, and they only performed it a few times in their entire touring career. And what's kind of amazing about that, if you know about the Grateful Dead, is that they don't play songs that they have a very extensive uh, collection of songs, and so each tour that's what's so exciting about it, is each tour is different. Every song you try to guess which one's coming and what they're tuning up for. Try to name the song that they're going to play. And it's a little bit like these books, trying to figure out what's going on before it happens. So and what has just happened after its beginning. So this is very layered. And the man who wrote this song, his name is Ron McKernan, but his nickname is Pigpen. And he was one of the original members of the Grateful Dead. And he died, unfortunately, sadly, of addiction, alcoholism, at the age of 27 in 1973, after writing a beautiful collection of songs for the Dead. And one of them entitled "The Stranger," and a lot of Grateful Dead songs have another title. And the other title of this song is "Two Souls in Communion." I couldn't believe what they've done here. What they've done in the film world, it's called a love letter. They've written a love letter with this episode to George R. R. Martin, saying whatever it is that they're saying. I think they're saying we appreciate you, and saying maybe to the audience, please appreciate us and what we're doing. I want to mention Tina Foyle. Nico has her channel is called Tina Foyle, and she has a video up. I think it's called "I Hate Game of Thrones" or something like that. And she doesn't hate Game of Thrones, but it's really an eye-opening video. So I'll put a link below. Please go watch it. It's really wonderful. And I think it's what the High Sparrow, a lot of the High Sparrows, what he was saying to Marjorie in this episode, I felt like it was the writers talking about how much time it takes to make this, how much time it takes George to write these books, how much time when he was talking about his sandals and how it took weeks for him to make a pair of sandals, and then someone would just come buy them and wear his time on their feet and not even think twice about the fact that they're wearing a person's time on their body. And he asked Marjorie if she had, how many people's time she had worn on her back. And I just thought that is so apropos for what's going on in the fandom, since the Winds of Winter didn't come out when it was supposed to come out, when the deadline was, and how many people went completely insane, and how bad that must feel, and how bad it must feel for David and Dan to make the show and then read these terrible comments. So I wanted to read you the lyrics of The Stranger. Enough of the talk about David and Dan and all that, but what they've done in this episode is so beautiful, and this is the episode in these lyrics, and it's also a big I love you to George. So it goes. What are they seeing when they look in each other's eyes? What are they feeling when they see each other smile? Is it love? I don't know, or an emotion that I've outgrown. Did I take a wrong turn on life's winding road? Won't somebody help me find the right way to go? My life needs some correction, alteration, and direction. Won't somebody stand by me? Yes, I'm lost. Yes, I'm lost. Yes, I'm lost. Where's the secret of this tie that binds two souls in communion, both body and mind? Is it special magic or just the nature of things? Conceived of the Great Spirit, not for beggars, but for kings. You have found it. Please help me along. I am a man. I am a man. I am not made out of stone. My needs, they are simple. I don't want anything. But I surely want to fly on those wings. On the run one more time. All I want to do is fly up, fly home. Fly on those wings of love. Fly up, fly home. I'm a stranger in your town. Fly up, fly home. Help me, somebody, please. Fly up, fly home. I just can't seem to understand. Can't seem to understand what's wrong. Fly up, fly home. What I want to do is take a little ride with you on the wings of love. One more time. One more time. Fly up, fly home. For series Deadheads, it's a really big deal when that song is played, and it was played twice. It's a huge coup de grace for them to give this homage to George. It's like they showed him that they could weave in beautiful things like he does, and that they're getting really good at it. And it really, the thing about Pigpen is that he really was the broken thing in the Grateful Dead, and I'm quite sure, or I can speculate at least, that he was probably one of George's favorite members of the band. He was a lot of people's favorite members of the band. And I feel like this song is saying so much. So anyway, we'll get on with the review. So I absolutely loved how this episode started out with a close-up shot on Longclaw. And we've only been told in the books that Longclaw is made out of a pale white stone. But it really looked to me like the skin of a White Walker or made out of weirwood. And it could be made out of stone, but it really resembled a White Walker. And I maybe it just says that's the slayer of the White or of the others. It's clear in this episode, and it's been clear in a lot of interviews that Kit Harington's been doing. Jon Snow is in an incredible existential crisis right now. He doesn't understand what just, or he does understand, but what he saw scared him to death. And it made him afraid for the first time, is what I've heard him say. And I thought that was really interesting because Jon Snow being afraid, and then you could see it this episode, Sansa really had to encourage him to be a warrior and to come and take back Winterfell. I mean, to have to talk Jon Snow into that means that he's really, really lost. And so the words to that song, again, they also tie into the pink letter that we finally got. Fly up, fly home, as many times as it said that. Excuse me. It also repeats that line in the pink letter of come and see, come and see. And in the book of Revelations, it also, after each seeth, after each, prophecy, it says, come and see. So that gave me the chills beyond belief. I mean, I knew that the pink letter, I hoped that it would show up, and the pink letter is very different in the books, but the way that it was worded and written by Ramsay Bolton was just beautiful. How they changed that, and it wasn't changed enough that it wasn't the pink letter. It really was the pink letter, and it was bastard, I want my bride. I'll kill your wildlings. I'll rape your sister. I'll kill your wild brother. His dire wolf skins on the floor. I mean, oh my God, it was the pink letter. So, and the strength that Sansa showed was what we have been waiting for, and oh my God, this is Tormund. I'm sure we all have talked about this a million times. It was just so damn cute. I mean, really, there's my woman. It was fabulous. So even Brienne looked at him like, what are you looking at? Like she always does. But for Brienne, in her past, to have a man look at her like he wants her and loves her is huge for Brienne. She loved Renly Baratheon so much, who was gay and who was also just kind to her. And everyone who was supposed to marry her was horrible to her, except for one guy who died. And so her story is just so sad. And so to see Tormund looking at her, and it was too great. So then, we get Jon and Sansa hugging, and I was bawling like a baby, just bawling. This starts reuniting. So, there's a Grateful Dead song that talks about, I'm going to sit down by the river and rest my lazy bones. That's what this episode felt like. Just like, I need a rest. I need to connect, and I need to find who I am again, and find my center, and find my power. Jon lists off the people he's killed. It's really heart-wrenching when you look at it. I've killed Night's Watch brothers. I've killed brothers of the Night's Watch. I've killed wildlings. I've killed men that I admire. I hanged a boy younger than Bran. I fought and I lost. He is at the bottom, and I knew killing Ollie would not be good for him. I knew it would stay with him forever. And he's gonna, like Alistair Thorne said, he is gonna fight forever for these wildlings. I mean, now, it's been brought up twice by Small John Umber and by Ramsay in his letter that you've let wildlings across the wall. So the entire kingdom doesn't look on it favorably. But then Sansa's line is so great. Winterfell is our home. if we don't take back the North, we'll never be safe. I want you to help me, but I'll do it myself if I have to. That's what we've been waiting for. So then we get a hint of Davos trying to figure out where Shireen, what happened to Shireen, and what happened with Stannis. And this is going to be really, really sad. I mean, really sad. So, Brienne came up in the middle of it like Duncan McCall himself. And if you don't know who Duncan is, read the Night of the Seven Kingdoms or the Duncan Egg novellas, because Duncan McCall is one of the most honorable, chivalrous knights. He's the definition of what a knight is. And Brienne is like that too. So her coming up and saying, I was there, I saw it. I saw the shadow magic kill Renly, and Stannis told me it was him. And she looks at Melisandre, and Davos is going, don't. It's in the past, you don't know what this lady can do, don't talk about this like this, stop it. And Brienne did not stop. So I don't know what that means for Brienne, but we know what Mel does to the people that don't agree with her. And I do not want to see Brienne go down at the hands of Mel. I don't. I'm really conflicted about what Melisandre's agenda is and whose agenda she's on, because she doesn't seem to be along the same lines as the other Red Gods, unless they're just amassing for Daenerys and for Jon. But she's the only one who's sought out Jon, maybe. I don't know who's watching. Littlefinger with falcons and Aaron sigils everywhere, bringing a falcon in a cage to Sweet Robin, who is just as awkward and just as Sweet Robin as he was when he was younger. He misses the target. Lord Royce is frustrated to death, and I love the fact that, their costume is beautiful, and I love the fact that you could see Lord Royce's sigil with the runes around it, and their words of House Royce are very important. They say, we remember, and those runes I actually decoded, and what they say is very cool. So Lord Royce is not going to die. He's not going to go through the moon door. That was just a really scary moment. I wish you the best in the wars to come has now been said by nearly everyone. It's like they're saying that people are getting now used to war, and that it's becoming a way of life, and that it's just another war after another war after another war, and after a while people become desensitized to that, and it's not a good thing. And I think that's what that's trying to get across. It's been said by everybody from Mance to Arthur Dane to Varys to Littlefinger to, it's been said just about by everyone. So Melisandre saying that she does what Jon Snow commands. I don't know what's going to happen about that. It's just the thing with Brienne and Mel and following Jon, and the fact that Brienne is carrying Oathkeeper, which is ice reforged. It makes me think that maybe Mel is going to be the one to say, or Jon might sense something, or Sansa might sense something. She probably would have already. Maybe they're going to leave that part out. I don't know, but I really hope not. I really hope we get that storyline somewhere of what has happened to the sword, because ice is not Dawn. Ice reforged or anything like that. Ice is an ancestral thousands and thousands. I think it's a 1,000-year-old sword. So it's not, I don't think that Ned took it from the Tower of Joy, took Dawn from the Tower of Joy and reforged it into ice. I don't think that happened. He might have taken Dawn, he did take Dawn from the Tower of Joy, but I do think he gave it back to the Danes. I don't think he took it, and if he did, it's in the Crypts of Winter. So that's something to remember. Littlefinger even had on the cloak that Sansa made him. He had the mockingbird sigil around his neck, I noticed, and everything else was falcons. And I swear I felt like that falcon in the cage was Jon Arryn himself watching all of this, just going, you've got to be kidding me, this is what's happening to my legacy. Now my son this is his father, are you kidding me? And he's listening to him. It's really scary to see Sweet Robin listening to him, but at the same time, there was a line in there where he did say, let's take the Knights of the Vale and get them into the fray, which is, going into the fray is a common term of going into a battle, but going into the fray really bothers me. I don't like hearing questionable things from Littlefinger. If he gets a notion in his head to betray the Starks, well, and he just, but the Grand Knights of the Vale, I cannot wait to see, and I really hope that if he tries that, Sweet Robin will go against him. I don't think he will. It's just, I didn't like him that time. But I do think that the Knights of the Vale hopefully will come in, and that will be the army that Jon and Sansa and Tormund need, and Davos and Brienne need to take them. So, Meereen, and we've got another conversation with Tyrion. He's using the art of war. He's talking about Sun Tzu's methods, and he's also talking about diplomacy and democracy, and he's showing Missandei how to do that, how to be diplomatic, and she understood it. She's so brilliant. I love her. And she got it, and she tried to say it to the masters of Yunkai. She tried to say that, he said, let us sail on the tide of freedom instead of drowning in it. Give freedom a chance. See if it doesn't taste as good as everything that came before. And Missandei's line to the masters, her sweet little line is, we make peace with our enemies, not our friends. And she's trying, though. She's really trying. And Tyrion's trying, too. They're both trying to really be understanding of who the other is and who these cultures, the differences in these cultures, what they are, and how to work together to understand them. It's kind of like the art of war. It's a study on how to do this kind of stuff. It's really cool. I really appreciate these Tyrion scenes, and Varys is too great every single time. His looks at Missandei just are fabulous. There are rats in the background of these scenes in the temple in Meereen. When the masters of, I noticed now that it's when the masters of Yunkai are there. I kept saying there's rats in the background. The last episode there were rats squeaking in the background. And I thought it might have something to do with Varys, because before he had little birds, he had little mice. He called them little mice. And I thought maybe he had gone back to the little mice, but I think maybe it's the sign, because a disease does come, the pale mare that Quaithe warned Daenerys about, does come to Meereen from Yunkai. So it makes me think that those masters of Yunkai it's a sign of the plague coming. Oh, and then we've got Daario and Jorah. Oh, Daario. I mean, really, he was, I'm sorry, I've got hair on my lip. It's driving me nuts. Um, Dario was getting really, really cocky there about riding the dragon and all of that. And I'm really glad that Dany did what she did at the end, and he finally knelt. I mean, that was pretty cool, the way he knelt. I mean, the whole scene, that whole scene was just, I'll get to that. But Dario really, I think, realized that riding the dragon isn't just, satisfying Daenerys. She is being burnt now. She really is. I'll get to it. Grey Worm's loyalty is so magnificent. I mean, really, he's so magnificent in every way. And Tyrion, he can just read people like a book, you know? He comes from such a different culture, and it was so wonderful to see him, you know, do these kinds of negotiations. It was just really, it was really a great study on politics. Dario saw the grayscale, so that's going to be something that Dario didn't look. Dario's not going to put up with something like that. That's for sure, and that's going to be his way to try and get rid of Jorah. Even though Grayscale will finish Jorah off. And he did say, "Do you know how this ends?" And Jorah said, "Yes, I do, of course I know how it ends." So it ends with him becoming a stone giant and being trapped inside of a body, and it's horrifying. It's what Tyrion and Jorah went through in the Sorrows. That's what he's going to become. So ultimately, they're going to have to kill him. I've heard so many people expressing their boredom with Dany's storyline in Marine, and so it's just so great. I mean, bored to death with it. And please, let's not have Drogon come and rescue her. I mean, how many times do we have to see Daenerys tell everybody how powerful she is and then wait for somebody to come and rescue her? But, I don't cry at Game of Thrones often, but I cried twice in this episode, and it was Sansa and Jon, and so the other time I cried was when she climbed on Drogon's back in the fighting pits. It's beautiful, beautiful. So George R. R. Martin said in an interview once that not all Targaryens are immune to fire, but Dany seems to be. I think the interviewer inferred more that Dany seems to be when he said maybe or something like that. Very cagey, but now it's pretty obvious, I think a lot of us thought that, at least I thought, that it was Mirri Maz Duur's magic that hatched the dragons, or what got Daenerys through that fire without being burned alive. But it seems like it was not. It was Dany herself. And no wonder she looked so confident that she would be absolutely fine with those calls. Marjorie and Loras, it's another two-soul connection, a brother and sister connection, where a broken man needs his sister and her help. And God, it was sad to see Loras like that. Love Loras. Loves that gallant Knight of Flowers. I want to see him back. Yara and Theon broke my heart too. Another broken man, Yara is Asha. Yara is Ironborn through and through. She is just, I cannot wait to see the Kings moved. And I love, actually a tear came to my eye when Theon said he broke me. Just, and then comes Osha fighting the dust. So sad to see this. She was a great actress, and she gave it the best shot she could have. She really did. She did the same thing with Theon before when he took Winterfell. She dropped to her knees and Bran, "What are you doing?" It was like the same exact thing. "What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh God, no, don't do this. He'll kill you." And of course he did. So then we get the pink letter. My God, I mean, really, bastard, come and see, bastard, come and see. I will, you know. The thing is that John, if he would have heard that before he was killed, he would have gotten on a horse and gone alone to Winterfell, no matter who was with him. But now that he's mortally afraid of death, I think that he's gonna maybe have a little bit of a hard time getting to the point where he can actually fight, because that takes letting go of fear, and Ned taught him that. They were all taught that. So Sansa will remember, and maybe Davos, Davos can help with that, and Brienne can certainly help with that too. So all in all, I want to give this a 9. I really do. I think it's a beautiful episode, and I really, really loved the Grateful Dead times. Loved it so much. Thank you so much for watching my channel. If you like what I do, please like and subscribe. I'd so appreciate it, and hitting the like button does help so much. I have a link below to fencingyandarchery.com if you'd like to go look at some great, inexpensive, beautiful t-shirts. Soon I will have the promo code for you for discounts. He hasn't given it to me yet, so I apologize for that. Otherwise, I will see you next time. All right.